a white voice in there, you can use it. It's like when you're pulled over by the police.
Oh, no, I just use my regular voice when that happens. I just say, back the fuck up off the car and don't nobody get hurt.
All right, man, I'm just trying to give you some game. You want to make some money here? Then read the script with a white voice.
People say I talk with a white voice anyway, so why ain't it helping me out?
Well, you don't talk white enough. I'm not talking about Will Smith's wife. I'm talking about the real deal, like this young blood.
Hey, Mr. Kramer, this is Langston from Regal View. I didn't catch you at the wrong time, did I?
What is up, movie lovers, and welcome back to the episode of 5 on It. I am Francisco.
And I'm Sir Frazier.
On today's episode, with I Love Boosters hitting theaters, written and directed by the talented Boots Riley. Fun fact, that dude actually follows me on Instagram.
Oh, that's dope.
Yeah, it kind of happened like a long time ago when I posted a coupe from his...
oh, man. Yeah, he was his old group.
Yeah, that song it actually kind of goes like from that album.
Yeah.
But with his movie, I Love Boosters, hitting theaters, we decided to go back to another movie that was written and directed by Boots Riley, his only other movie. But another fact, we decided to review Sorry to Bother You. But before we dive into that, don't forget to subscribe, like, share, drop a comment below. Have you seen I Love Boosters or Sorry to Bother You? And what did you think of it? Mr. Frazier, tell people about Sorry to Bother You.
Yeah, this is a really quirky sci-fi comedy that stars... It has a really great cast. It stars Lakeith Stanfield, Tessa Thompson, Jermaine Fowler, Omari Hardwick, Terry Crews. Let's see, Stephen Yeun.
Always playing like somebody's uncle or
dad
or something.
He does really well in this too. To be fair, Danny Glover and Armie Hammer, just to name a few. I definitely want to get a shout out to the cinematographer. Doug Emmett is his name. That was a highlight that we'll speak to throughout this. But this was a really man. I remember seeing this movie in the theater. This was a indie movie. Had a small budget of $3 million, and it brought in 18 at the box office. The music is really fun. To what you were saying earlier, Boots Riley's group, The Coup, did a lot of the music for this. This is just one of those movies. It's a very fun. It's a fun movie that tries to unpack a lot of different things, and one of those is just code switching, right? The use of the white voice, and it's all primarily told from the standpoint of Cassius Green, which they call him Cash, and also just kind of funny just think about Cash is green.
That didn't really click for me until about like maybe 20, 30 minutes to the movie.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah. It was probably just the weed, but but that was pretty cool.
It's a really fun dystopian movie, where we are introduced. When we're introduced to Cassius, we see him as somebody who's clearly desperate for a job. He's interviewing for this telemarketer job, bullshitting his way through this. He lies about his work history. He brings in a trophy that he basically made.
Bro, I was like, why would you do that? Why would you even bring in a picture and a big ass trophy like that to an interview?
One thing that really underlies his desperation at this point, and we see that when we are taken to his home where he is living out of the garage, of his uncle's garage. The whole, he also is really kind of wrestling with an identity crisis, right? Yeah. He doesn't feel a sense of purpose, and that's something he speaks to later on, and is part of his character journey in ultimately leaving Regal View. But I think that the intro to him and his life, and the banter right with him and Terry Crews, where he's like, he basically giving him like this anti-capitalist rant. He's like, "I'm your fucking uncle. Yeah. I gave you that car, damn it."
And he's like, "This bucket." He's like, "You want to give it back?" That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I thought. Like, we're just seeing Terry Crews pop up. It just kind of like makes me think of like just some of his other roles, like you mentioned, or like in Brooklyn Nine-Nine, or in Everybody Hates Chris, just playing that father figure type of dude. He always does that role really well.
Or Friday After Next, very disturbing role.
Oh my god, yeah.
Him and Cat Williams making movie magic.
Yeah, and shout out to his first role in Training Day, if you notice him.
Oh yeah, that's right. That was his first role.
I want to say yeah. They just what's his name? Antoine Fuqua. I think was like pals with him in some way, shape, or form, or maybe friends to a friend, and they just asked him to come down and just play like this kind of intimidator type of role. And yeah, I want to say like that kind of got his acting career going. But one person that surprised me, because I remember watching this. This is kind of a first watch too for me as well. I've watched this like once before, but it was so long ago I didn't really remember like key details of this movie. But seeing what's his name? Cassius. He's like trying to become. He gets the job at the telemarketing facility, and they're trying to get. He's trying to become a what's it called?
Power caller.
Power caller.
Where the callers are ballers.
I was like, I know something else. Where they make the real money. And so he wants to become a power caller, and once he eventually achieves that, and he's using his white voice, and he gets up to the second floor, or whatever floor it is, and Omari Hardwick, dude,
He nails it as
up,
Mr. Yeah.
Dude, I was just kind of surprised. I was like, oh shit, Ghost is in this bitch?
Mm-hmm.
But it's so funny, too. If you've seen Boots Riley, like, recently, he looks exactly how Omari Hardwick's character looks in this, with the facial hair and everything.
You know what's funny to me? Hearing Cat talk, tell me if you think, tell me what you think about this. Hearing Cat talk, he feels like he could be a cousin to Cat Williams. He feel like they could be cousins. There's something about like their mannerisms that kind of like they remind me of each other for some reason. I'm not sure why exactly, but I kind of like I feel like they could easily be cousins.
Yeah, I can definitely see that.
I think that seeing him, get this opportunity, right, this job to be a telemarketer, which looks and seems like shitty work. I think, when we see him in this interaction with Danny Glover, who's a veteran who's been working there and who really, Langston is his name, played by Glover, he advises Cassius to tap into his white voice. And just the whole explanation of that, right, what that is like, you've never been laid off. Or, you haven't been fired, just laid off, You don't really need the money.
You got all your bills paid. You ain't worried about nothing.
And he's kind of like deconstructing like that white voice. He's like, it's not even how white people sound. It's how they think they're supposed to sound. Like it's that in of itself is a construct, right? I like the visuals of them basically dropping the telemarketer Cassius into the environment with the person he's speaking to on the phone. Yes. I thought like the editing, like that as a choice, I thought was very experimental, but it really worked for me. Along with just like the concept of the white voice and hearing, in Lakeith's Cassius's case, David Cross from Arrested Development, he does his white voice. That scene, seeing him in action using that voice are some of the highlights in this movie for me. Easily.
Oh yeah, easily. But I'll quickly just go back to what you mentioned when they do the scenes of him like just doing like the telemarketing job, and they drop him like in the scene, whether it's like some people making love or somebody
shitting
smoking a joint or taking a shit, and they just have him like face to face with them. And then I love it when they kind of interact with one another, and he goes and he flushes the bidet for him, or flushes the toilet, and then he hits the blunt too with like the other guy,
the white dude. Yeah. Holla 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 when he's doing that scene. Yeah.
Just all of those scenes like really work for me. I love how like they visualize that on screen.
Well,
go ahead. I was gonna just mention, like you said, I kind of recognize that voice because I'm a decent David Cross fan. I don't really watch too much of his stand up, but I've seen enough of his films to recognize his voice. So as soon as he did his little code switching, I was like, oh shit, that's David Cross. But all of those, every scene that when he's trying to use a white voice, especially when he gets to the second floor, we use the white voice all the time up here.
At all times.
We never turn it off.
I think Omari Hardwick really owns he steals all of his scenes. I think that the calling of those callers who the term power callers, right, really is also foreshadowing, because when Cassius reaches when he's promoted to a power caller, he learns that when they sell power, we're talking about gun power, manpower. It's extremely exploitative, and I think just kind of going back to what Mr. Omari Hardwick's character, I love how they bleeped him out too. I think that was also kind of symbolic of how you surrender so much of yourself. You're almost like a faceless kind of corporate man at that point. Yeah. But the fact that white voices only are allowed up there, I think like that in of itself kind of indicates again just how much is asked of them to self-sacrifice to thrive in that world, right?
Yeah.
Just like the visual, like the that kind of that is a device to explain just some of the deeper themes that he's trying to wrestle with in this movie, including like the unionization. Right, his politics are very much in the forefront of his movies.
Oh, easily. I mean, like you said, like he's wrestling with that whole thing of like how much are you willing to sacrifice in order to like achieve of what you want, and especially when you bring in the fact that his uncle is like losing the house, and his uncle is thinking about doing the whole what do they call it?
We work or not? We work.
Yeah, I can't think of that name. Of that like way. I want to say Wayfair, but it's not. It's definitely not Wayfair. But when he sees his uncle like thinking about worry free. That's it. When he's thinking.
There we go. That's right.
When he sees his uncle,
we work.
Thinking, we work. I mean, they work him pretty much. It brings in an extra like variable to the equation of just like how much are you willing to sacrifice in order to achieve, because when other people around you are suffering, then you kind of like put your own needs to the side, because he even mentions that, because he's like, dude, man, my uncle's about to lose his house, I ain't got time for this, I got bills that I need to be paid. But then you get to a point where it gets too much, and I think that's when I mean, I don't want to like skip all the way to the third act, but once like he's finally become a power caller, and he's also like lost his girlfriend too, and now he's getting to the eyes wide shut party where everybody's kind of fucking and doing drugs and shit. That's when he finally realizes that he's gone too far down the rabbit hole a little bit. Yeah,
no, he definitely does, and that's part of his growth, right? We see him as somebody who is willing to lie to advance, and when he sees how much Mister is offering him to be a power caller,
the note.
Yeah,
that's a smiley face on
well, I just love how he breaks character, right, when he's learning what they sell at that level, and he breaks out of the white voice and is talking as himself. He's like, I just don't know if I can do this. And then when he sees the amount, the way that he switches right back into the white voice is just like it's such a revealing scene, but it's also like very fun, very well and funnily executed. But something that I did like, there's certain things that they use in this movie, certain details that I think are really effective and fun as a method of the storytelling, and just kind of showing us more insight in terms of just how Cassius is being led astray. So, for example, the picture that he has of his father, I guess it's supposed to be, up against the car. We see like the thumbs down one where he's like, that kind of almost becomes like a source of like his moral conscience.
Exactly.
As does Detroit at times, but like even her earrings, with the murder, or the ball, like the dick and balls, or the electrocution chair.
Dude, I love her. I love how stylized like that was.
It's very like Afro punk vibes that we're getting from her. Everything from her whole aesthetic, Yeah.
Dude, I don't want to go into I'll go into a quick negative because we're talking about Detroit right now. But I will give her flowers on like just her whole style and how they brought that character to life. The earrings was, I mean, this whole movie I feel like is just littered with like just obviously themes and metaphors of like what's going on in today's like society and stuff like that. But one little negative, because I was just like, man, I think we're going a little too deep. Maybe I've just missed the plot a little bit, where she's giving her presentation and then
her art installation.
What?
Her art installation?
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
that was all weird.
Just like she takes her jacket off, and I mean, seeing Tessa Thompson and that is not going to be a bad thing in any way. But just seeing like she's reciting some sort of like screenplay from a movie or something. It's like I was like, I'm missing the whole point of this whole like part of the movie, because, and also she's getting cell phones chucked at her. I'm like,
cell phones, bullets.
I'm like, bitch, that fucking shit is gonna knock you out.
Lamb's blood, I think, or sheep's blood with the balloons.
Like water balloons and shit.
That whole scene was very weird. Yeah,
like, this is weird.
100%. But something that was weird that did work for me was the breadcrumbing right of that show. I got the shit kicked out of me, where we're seeing that at different parts in this movie, and at the very end when Cassius has his breakthrough and decides to go against Regal View and what's that company called again? Worry Free. There we go. When he goes on that show to try to used that platform to broadcast the video of Armie Hammer's character. Like, you know, just the whole the whole references that people are just getting their asses beat, and the whole montage of him getting his ass beat and then getting covered in shit, just like what people are willing to subject themselves to, right? For these cash prizes. I think like that was also kind of not kind of, but definitely him kind of poking his eye at that culture within our society.
Oh yeah, I mean, like once you get into
that mindset as well,
the third act of this movie, I feel like, I mean, obviously you're covering things of like your own moral compass of like how much are you willing to sacrifice and how much are you willing of your soul are you willing to sell in order to climb whatever sort of like corporate ladder or some sort of like greed. But then you start seeing like corporate greed in with like when you get introduced to Armie Hammer's character, and he's head of the worry-free little like stuff that you've been seeing throughout the film. And when you see that like he wants to offer Cassius to be ahead of like some sort of division, and he wants to show him like a presentation a little bit, but Cassius needs to take a piss, so he's like, "Fuck it, man. Let me just pause."
After doing a line of coke,
yeah,
on a little
line of coke too.
on a little plate that has Mr. Bobo the oars on it. Like all the foreshadowing is great too in this.
Yeah, and like I said, like I mentioned, like this is kind of like the eyes wide shut party, because like when you kind of come into like the room, you're seeing all these like people, like you mentioned, like the cinematography and everything. Like it's a good shot. I mean, obviously what you're witnessing is very kind of like debauchery and everything. But
Debauchery, remember? Oh yeah, the HR lady when. Sorry, no, finish your thought, because I was gonna say, you gotta talk about debauchery.
Like debauchery is like, oh, it looks like debauchery. Yeah, well, it isn't.
Yeah.
Dude, did you think that? I was like, I thought she was gonna do something to him when they were like in the elevator.
Yo, she was definitely crushing on him. I was like, this is getting real awkward. She played that role very well, but so did the manager and the assistant manager, I guess. Like, for example, he's like, you gotta know when to bag him and tag him.
Yeah.
That moment, right, where we have a little montage of Cassius killing it on the telemarketing phones before he's promoted. He's just making sales. And the song, the visuals of him and the assistant manager celebrating, that whole sequence is so much fun.
That montage.
Yeah, that
like
montage. Yes.
Yeah. Dude, when he's like, bag him and tag him, and then oh boy, like he's like, what does that mean? And then he goes like deep into like, well, you got to put the body into the bag, and then once you get the body in the bag,
you drop that shit.
You drop that shit. And then the other dude, he's like, okay, I think everybody's not understanding the metaphors, so let's just move on.
These were not approved.
But I'll say, yeah, like when you get to the third act, and yeah, Armie Hammer's character from Worry Free, he gives Cassius like that big fat line of coke, and he has to take a piss, and he goes to the bathroom, and you just see that like obviously you get into the restroom, and it's not a normal restroom.
No,
like this is some sort of Texas Chainsaw Massacre type of restroom.
For real.
But it's just one stall, and he's talking to him, man, are you coming or you going? And then the person speaking to him is obviously in some sort of need. And once he opens the door and the thing flies out, and we're
in Wonderland now. Yeah, we're in Wonderland.
We have completely like, I won't say jumped the shark, but it's like we have taken a huge left turn somewhere, because I don't really want to say that like we've been led to this to think that like they're making these sort of human horse hybrids. So it's like
Equisapiens.
Yeah, I forget like what the technical term that they were calling them.
Yeah.
But once you get introduced like the human horse hybrids, and then you see their fucking horse dicks. It's just we've gone off the rails.
Yeah, you really have. And you know, it's been interesting just rewatching this. I watched this, obviously just a couple days ago, and in the theater, my first experience was, what the fuck? Where am I? And it was very disorienting and just like shocking that this story had taken that turn. I mean, to this director's credit, he is not formulaic. He is willing to take risks, and I really respect that about him, this movie, and even his new movie that I just saw, I Love Boosters. I think that he has proven himself to be very successful so far, and I hope that he continues. Even though I don't always rock with the direction his movies take, I do really respect the willingness to do something bold and different.
Yeah.
And it's not bold and different in a way like, yeah, I'm good on this.
Mhm.
Because there's still parts of this movie, I would say like the first 2/3 of it, that I absolutely love. It just really works for me. And so yeah, but to your point, man, this second time around watching this, I didn't feel as disoriented. I feel like I took that part of the story in stride more so. One of the scenes that really was hard to rewatch was when Arnie Hammer's character pressures him to do a rap song, and he's just nigga, 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 and all these white folks are just singing this with him, and it's just so cringy. It was really tough to watch. That was probably one of the most difficult parts of this movie for me in the rewatch. The horses didn't really faze me this time around, oddly enough, because I knew that this was a part of the storyline, and it's my least favorite part of the story. But it didn't take me out of the moment. Funny enough.
No, because I mean, and also you mentioned like in his new movie, I Love Boosters, like he does a similar type of third act, kind of twist ish, which I'm not gonna say like it's on like the M. Night Shyamalan type of,
even weirder.
but I know it's so it kind of makes me more interested to watch that movie to see like where it goes, because it definitely just visually looks like an interesting film.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to see exactly how interesting it is, because the whole worry free is kind of pretty much just like slave labor, and so
Like Amazon, right? Or you fill in the blank.
Yeah, and so even though I say like they don't really like give you breadcrumbs to think that like they're trying to do this type of hybrid type of shit, but like I feel like this is just where the story would go if like you just take it into the most like kind of crazy way. So it's like it's still like it doesn't go like where like this doesn't make sense. It's just like we're gonna take it into a crazy, like to take it as like so far as we can go, but it's still like is that like it's still in the realm of not say a possibility, but like it still makes sense for the story because they're trying to find like this like this great labor that doesn't get tired and they don't be bitching
And they have
all
for
the time.
life.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then they want Cassius to be like the head of it, and they want him to pretty much become a horse too.
Or like
And
the
then-
Martin Luther King of horses.
Yeah,
Like
and
what
then
the
he's
fuck?
like, we'll give you the serum in like 5 years, and then you'll turn right back. Everything. He's like, you're making that up. Like, you haven't created like this serum or anything. But seeing how just kind of like crazy this movie gets, it's not a negative. It just kind of makes it more interesting. That I would like to see kind of where he would go from like a third and fourth film.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he had a bigger budget for I Love Boosters.
I'll check that out.
Yeah, but to your point, it is curious to see what these directors do, especially after their debut success, and seeing what they can do with a bigger budget behind them and a bigger production company.
Yeah, he got $20 million budget. Because also, like, it's another star-studded cast with like Keke Palmer and Isaac Gonzalez.
You said
Stanfield.
30 million. I'm sorry,
20 million.
20 million. I mean, up from just 3.2 million for the first movie.
Mm-hmm.
And that's including, that budget, is that also including marketing? Is that fair to assume? Because, if you're...
Well, like, I'm not sure, like, when it's on Wikipedia, if that's also including it.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to say it probably doesn't.
Okay.
Just to, like, be on the safe side. Because if it does, then, like, that's just even better.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, it's nice to see he got a bigger budget.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, the critics and fans have, like, at least responded pretty well. I wonder if that would be, like, his kind of calling card, though, a little bit. As far as like that third act, not necessarily like a twist,
Like going off the rail,
it's just like, man, like the story has just like we've gone like really crazy and like in such a direction where like you just don't expect it to go.
Yeah, and that's definitely been my experience with his two movies. But I also, I think he could probably get that rep, or maybe he's earned that rep at this point. It's fair to say, but that consistency doesn't make him predictable in terms of like the quality of the movie or the storyline.
Yeah. Well, that's why like it when you think of like how M. Night Shyamalan had that kind of like twist type of deal, like you're going into it thinking like, okay, what's gonna be
this M. Night?
You with like Boots, I feel like you can go into it just being like, this story's gonna go into once the third act is gonna go somewhere where like I'm not expecting it, and I might dig it, I might not fuck with it, but it's gonna go into a direction where I'm not expecting it to go.
Yeah, and this is gonna impact my score. I guess we're kind of winding down in that sense. But I think there's two movies that I would point to, I think, as counterexamples of taking elements of the absurd or the sci-fi and really buttoning them down in a more digestible way. So the first one I would say is They Clone Tyrone. I think They Clone Tyrone is a really excellent sci-fi movie that has it's a black comedy movie. There's dark humor to that, but it's also predominantly black cast. I think that movie dealt with like some really absurd elements, but I think that it felt more buttoned down for me than this movie did. And I would say another movie that really leans into the absurd, but I always feel anchored in the story and I never feel really out of the moment, and that's Everything Everywhere All at Once. Yeah. I think that movie is one of the best examples maybe of trying to deal with some like really interesting ideas, but in a really experimental way. And I think this movie struggles a little bit. It struggles most with that in the third act. Yeah. And that's definitely really where it is definitely going to impact my score on that front.
Yeah, like at least with those two movies, it's like the themes I feel like that like they're trying to cover, like how many things that they are trying to cover, the multitude of them they are. They're trying to like show it on screen in just such an interesting and crazy different way. And obviously, Everything Everywhere, it just knocked it out the park. I mean, we did a review on that recently, and it got a very high score from me. This movie's not going to be that high.
No,
but I feel
agree.
like all in all, like at least the first two acts was like just enjoyable. It's just an enjoyable movie to watch and like follow along with this character and just seeing where he goes. And then when the third act hits, like it was just more hilarious. I'm just thinking like, okay, this is just nutty at this point. But it also ended like the final scene when you see Armie Hammer like in the
in his mansion,
in his house.
Yeah.
And then because you see you think that everything like works out for Cassius, but then he ends up showing that he's got a little horse nose. So I guess that shit that he snorted
was the catalyst.
Yeah, wasn't just cocaine. But
when he's wigging out too after he does it and sees the video, that's like he was acting his ass off there too.
Yeah.
Sorry, but you were saying though about the end.
God,
that was a great twist.
That shit made me crack up. Yeah, seeing how his nose just
the visuals of that.
I was like, oh no. But I was expecting like kind of credits to roll and blah blah blah. But then just seeing Armie Hammer's character like show up at his house, and then he sees the security footage, and then you hear it's Cassius motherfucking Green, and like I'm here to whoop your ass. Yeah. Then he just busts in the house, bro.
And they're all going for him.
Yeah, all in all, like even though the third act gets a little bit lost in the weeds, it ends on such a hilarious note where I'm walking away from the movie at least laughing my ass off.
Well, even there, those were funny moments, right? Where after they have staged the protest out in front of Regal View, Cassius ends up getting thrown in, I guess, paddy wagon. What do you call those?
Yeah, I guess.
I don't know what it feels like such a dated word to use. I know, but like I don't really know what else to call them.
Timey term. Yeah, get the paddy wagon.
No, but that's kind of like what it was, right?
Pretty much that.
Yeah.
Pretty much is a paddy wagon. Yeah.
I was like, what is the contemporary word for that?
I'm not sure if they've 2026 it up or not, or if they still use it.
But when the horses come and help them out in their protest and help beat back like the police, when they open up the door and he's talking to them as though they're like an alien species. He's like, dude, I'm from the East Bay. He's like, he's like, yo, I'm from the Bay, dude. Relax. I'm from Oakland. Oh man, that was like a really funny moment.
Oh my god, yeah. Oh, seeing even got a little cameo from Mr. Fab too.
Oh yeah, when he throws the drink on Cash. I mean, dude, I got to talk about one of my highlights too. Is and this is a really great storyline too, because of just the impact it has on him and Detroit and all of his friends. Like he decides to break the strike and continue as a power baller, and when he passes by his old colleagues, his old crew. There, that moment with him, he's like, "I hope you have a good day."
Yeah.
That scene like the most passive aggressive shit, but like that's a whole highlight. I hope
great
your
week.
days is full of a lot of great ventures. I hope you just come up, brother. I hope your whole week is fucking spectacular. You know, like all of that, man.
Dude, that's like the only scene that I did remember from like this movie.
Oh yeah,
was that
toxic positivity.
yeah, exactly, with like that scene with the aggressive politeness. And then I just remembered that Tessa Thompson hooked up with Stephen Yeun's character, old boy Mark Grayson.
Yeah, yep.
Dude,
Invincible.
seeing him, how he delivered to, like, he had a great little speech in there.
Yeah, the chlamydia. What's about that one?
He got a little, no, not that one. What's that one?
That's the one of the later ones. Is like when you go to the clinic.
So that's one where he's watching them on TV. I think there's one where like they're actually there. I think it's the one where like before they go into the work, before they go into the building.
Oh yeah.
And then that's when Cassius looks at the picture, and then you see his dad like giving him the
I know that was another great moment. Yeah, that's before
speech,
he becomes a power caller. Yeah,
the speech he delivers before they go into the building for the first day to do the Union Act. I was like, oh man. I mean, obviously, I'm a fan of Stephen Yeun. Like,
yeah,
he's Walking
even
Dead,
Beef.
or
He's
Beef,
great in Beef.
or he was supposed to be a Sentry in Thunderbolts, but then he got tied up with. I want to say it might have been Beef. I'm not sure. He got tied up with something.
Interesting.
That took him away from that. But yeah, seeing him like pop up and seeing him deliver that speech, I was like, oh yeah, there's a reason why he's Mark Grayson, Invincible. Seeing that, like, yeah, he could be a leader.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was the only thing I can remember was that he hooked up with Tessa Thompson and the aggressive politeness scene. But so it was a good, nice little rewatch though for me.
No, it was for me too, man. And I guess we pivot towards on it. I'll kick us off, man. I think the mark of a good movie to me is, will I recommend this to someone? And I absolutely will recommend this movie to a lot of people. I find the people that I wouldn't recommend this to are the more conservative movie goers. People who like a straight up kind of traditional button down, nothing crazy, nothing like this, right? But most people, I would recommend this to a lot of my friends who are into movies who haven't seen this movie. This for me is a 3.5. I really love this movie. I really respect this movie. I am a fan of Boots Riley. I will be looking out for his work in the future. I think the screen chemistry in this movie. The chemistry with the crew, whether it's Tessa and Lakeith, Omari Hardwick, like he bodies all of the scenes that he's in. I think that this movie has a lot going for itself. I mean, I've already kind of shared with you guys, like in San Francisco, like the problems that I have with the third act. It just feels a little chaotic, but that's kind of baked into his style of filmmaking. That's something I'm learning about him. 2 movies in now, it doesn't fully work for me, but I can't outright take issue with it, because there are highlights that come in this movie as a result of that. But it's just, it's not typically what I seek out, but I do really enjoy this movie, and it was a really fun rewatch.
Yeah, man. Like Omari Hardwick, man, I love like when he ever pops up. I was a big fan of Power, watching that series, and seeing him pop up in any movie, whether it's this or even Army of the Dead. I just like watching him perform. And I forget that he's also in that old Dwayne Johnson movie. I think it was Gridiron Gang.
Oh yeah, he was like one of the gang members.
Yeah, he's a little villain. He killed one of the dudes, or I think just shot him. I'm not sure if he actually killed him. But yeah, I agree with you, man. I'm giving this a 3.5 because we spoke about this off camera or off mic, whatever. Whenever I deliver a 4 and above, it's a movie that I would probably seek out on my own and rewatch. And so like this isn't a typical movie that I probably would like seek out and watch on my own, but yeah, I would recommend it to like a true like like a movie lover or somebody who like just has like a taste in all like varieties of types of movies. Nothing, somebody that doesn't just like the main. It's somebody like where to use a music reference. Somebody who likes like deep cuts.
Yeah. This isn't a mainstream
Not
movie necessarily, right?
Yeah, exactly. You go a little deeper into it, especially because how of like where the third act goes. Because like the first 2 acts, I feel like it's just like kind of like a normal movie. You can feel like the themes that they're trying to cover. And you're seeing the performances and like the chemistry with like even Tessa Thompson and Lakeith. and like the costumes and just like how it's visually looking on camera. It's well shot, well made. But then once the third act hits, it's like, yeah, you're either gonna
We're in the shit now,
yeah, man, you're either gonna really fuck with it, or you're not gonna.
or you might turn it off.
Yeah, so. And I still, for the most part, I still fuck with this whole movie. So that's why I give it a 3.5. I definitely would recommend it to the true movie lovers out there. Maybe not to the whole masses, but if you like movies, all types of movies, I definitely recommend it to you.
And I think too, just to kind of piggyback off of this, like, it's refreshing that a movie like this is getting made today. That's comforting to me because I value indie movies, and I really value telling, not sticking to what's working currently, being formulaic and copycatting what other successful franchises are doing. That's one of the reasons, we talk about really great studios like A24 and Neon. They seem to be willing to do that, kind of take on these or distribute these lesser known projects by these relatively new filmmakers. So that's something that I do really appreciate. And it also is an example, this is a black story told in a very dystopian world. And it's also really refreshing to see stories told that aren't tied to slavery, right? Or that aren't, they don't kind of deal with some of like the historical traumas that we're accustomed to seeing on the big screen. So it was refreshing to kind of see like this really original take on the black main character, and talking about contemporary themes. I
mean, I guess you could make the argument that it is kind of like a modern slavery-esque, because when you bring in the whole
we work or
like
worry free. I mean,
with the worry free.
I guess we work.
Yeah.
Worry free.
We work.
Yeah.
You could kind of, I guess, like make those like assumptions, or like make those connections where it's like a modern day.
Well, except for this though, it's more about capitalist enslavement, right? Like being under the thumb of this system as a working class. I mean, there's a very working class vibe to this movie, right? It's a very class conscious movie. It's very class conscious and anti-capitalist. And so those are things that I do really appreciate. The wage slavery, right? The grind.
Yeah.
But I mean, plus, for anybody who's worked on the phones for their job, man, cold calling people, man, you gotta have you gotta be built for that, man, because that shit is tiring,
bro. That's why
you get a lot of no's.
I'm like driving around for like work and everything. I've seen like some people just doing like door to door, like salesman type of deal, and I'm just like, man, it takes a strong mind to just
withstand those no's and the rude ones at that.
Yeah, or just, I guess, somebody who just doesn't either just powers through it, like really believes, or somebody who just doesn't give a fuck. It's like, I know I'm gonna get a lot of no's. I'm just doing this to get a paycheck. But a lot of those jobs I feel like are on like commission.
Yeah.
So it's
just like the telemarketers in at Regal View. Yeah, it was commission.
Obviously, since I'm delivering too, like I see a bunch of like signs that are
no solicitors,
like, no soliciting and everything. So it's like, if you knock on that door and it's got a no soliciting sign, and
be prepared for problems.
Ooh, man, there'll be problems for you. But yeah, it takes a strong person. Like whether it's the
it's grinding work, man. I remember doing that. It was my summer after I graduated high school, and one of the jobs that I took was door-to-door canvassing for the Democratic Party at that time, and trying to get donations, man. And especially when you went out to the West Side, motherfuckers were hella rude. Like, yo, get off my property. Yeah, there was a lot of George W. fans back then, man. Yeah, this is 2004, so people could be very rude. But yeah, man, it's a tough job, man. Tough line of work.
The most I had to do was remember in high school we had to sell almond roca.
Oh
yeah, door to door. But that, I mean, even that is just like, cause some people would be like, "How much is it?" And you're like telling me like this rich ass like fucking candy. And you're like, "Nah, get out of here." And then you guys just do the walk shame.
Oh yeah, for real, man. Door to door. But that wraps up our review for this week. Stay tuned, and we'll catch y'all next time.
Peace.